Each of us has a dream, a heart's desire. It calls to us. And when we're brave enough to listen and bold enough to pursue, that dream will lead us on a journey to discover who we're meant to be. All we have to do is look inside our hearts and unlock the magic within.
Ready to begin, let the wonder take hold. Feel it flying.
Hello and welcome to My Disney Brain. Today is October the 3rd and my name is Kelly. I am going to be solo today. The girls are not in the studio with me today. I'm going to get us all caught up on news from September 27th up until today, which is October the 3rd. So sit back and relax. I know lately there's been so much going on inside of the Disney World arena and obviously outside. There's a lot going on. So my objective is not only just to get you caught up today, but also just kind of help you take your mind off of things that are going on around us, because it can be a lot. So I want you to kind of take a deep breath, sit back, and unless you're driving, maybe grab your glass of wine and just relax and let me kind of take you through Disney, what's happened the last week. There's been some ups, there's been some bumps. We're going to talk about it all. And then today, too, we haven't done this in a while. We're going to do it today because I just think we need it. We're going to hear some sounds of the parks. I haven't been to the parks in quite a while, and I think a lot of you are that way, and we're just missing it. Some of you have had an opportunity to kind of run in and run out, if you will, during this COVID quarantine period. So that's good for you. But for those of us who are missing the parks, haven't been there in quite a while, we're going to do some sounds of the park today. So try to sit back, try your best to relax, and let's see what we can get accomplished. First of all, those of you who are joining us for the first time, thank you. Thank you so much for finding us. And while you are here with us, go ahead and lock us in to wherever you're listening to us from or on. We're on multiple different platforms. So wherever you found us, please go ahead and lock us in and like us and subscribe and do all those great things. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook, by the way, at My Disney Brain, BRAIN. Should be pretty easy to find. And for those of you who are continuing to support this podcast, man, thank you so much. You guys don't know. Our numbers basically doubled last month. And I'm being serious. I mean, the girls and I, we look at the numbers periodically, but last month was just, man, it's just more and more folks signing on and following us and listening to us. And we just cannot thank our core support group for that, because we know it's you guys that are continuing to come back and support us and to sharing our content, liking it, giving us reviews, sharing it with your associates, your family, your loved ones. We just want to say thank you so much from My Disney Brain. We really do appreciate it. As I always say, we love providing the content. We love being in the studio together and talking about Disney, one of the things that we're passionate about. But more than that, we feel like perhaps this is a bright part of your week, of your day, knowing that you come back on a continuing basis to listen to us. It just really makes us feel good. So we're going to keep putting out content. If you'll keep supporting us, we'll just keep doing this. We'll just keep doing it. So thank you. So why don't we do this? We've got quite a few news stories, but let's go now and let's hear some sounds of the park. And then when we get back, we'll jump into the news.
With my share of resent, of despair, all that bent, I don't care, I'll have spent one day.
Hey guys, before we head over and listen to Sounds of the Park, I wanted to bring to your attention, there's a podcast. We've done cross promotions in the past, and we'll continue to do it when we run across here at My Disney Brain other podcasts that have similar content, things that are fun and enjoyable for the audience, things that we find that are fun to us. We're going to recommend it to you. Now, we came across a podcast, and it's called Polka Dot Podcast, and we want to recommend that you go and check out Leslie at Polka Dot Podcast. You can check out Polka Dot Podcast. It's a show by a mom for moms and lovers of all things Disney. The host name is Leslie. She shares Walt Disney World planning tips, trivia, games, Disney news, and Q&As with former Disney cast members as well as other Disney enthusiasts. You can subscribe to her show on Apple Podcasts or even Spotify, and you can also follow her at Polka Dot Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. I'm going to spell that for you. POLKADOT Podcast. All of that. So, we've done cross promotions in the past, and we wouldn't bring anything to you that we didn't enjoy, that we didn't think you would enjoy. Why do we cross promote? Number one, we like to put good karma out there. We feel like folks support us, so supporting other people is just the right thing to do. And there's enough time in a day for you to listen to My Disney Brain and to Leslie's podcast also. This is not just about us. So we're always about helping other folks who love Disney, and spreading good cheer. And Disney's fun, and right now we need as much cheer and as much magic in the atmosphere as possible. So after you listen to My Disney Brain today and go and give us a 5-star review, go check out Leslie's podcast at Polka Dot Podcast. Follow her on Instagram and Twitter as well. It's a fun thing to do. Thanks.
One of our permanent residents at the mansion, the one, the only, Madame Renata.
So angry. Broom, are you okay? You're giving me the angry eyes.
I'm never angry when looking at you, my dear.
You're gonna walk backwards.
I will walk backwards only for you, dear.
You're so talented, Broom. I had no idea.
Yes, madam. There's so many things a butler can do that you wouldn't even begin to imagine.
I would like to imagine. Thank you for... Let's hear it for Broom, everybody. He's loyal. He's faithful. He's all that in a bag of chips. Isn't that what the kids say?
Yes,
I don't even know what that means, but I like it.
I haven't had a bag of chips in forever.
I wouldn't even know. Is it time for ring toss, Broom? I think there's ring toss.
Yes, somebody won 5 times.
Ring, that was me. I was playing ring around the neck.
Ah.
Yeah.
Maid will have to take care of the laundry then.
She's a little loopy tonight, May.
Yeah.
She's a little crazy.
She's always a little crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
That's my friend Adam down there.
Hello, Adam down there.
He's very nice. And his girlfriend, Eve.
Adam and Eve.
I don't know, I just made
Where
her.
are their fig leaves?
You're very scoundrel-like tonight, Broom. I like it very much.
Thank you, madam.
It's like you're a little devil.
I'm feeling a bit festive today.
This ought to be good, that's all I'm trying to say. Hi, y'all. Was you just inside? Were you in the ballroom? You might have seen me. I was third girl on the ride, just
Yeah.
spinning around and around.
She
Because
cuts
my
the
partner
rug.
doesn't know how to do anything else, does he?
No. You cut the rug so well.
Thank you, Broom.
Yes, it looks fantastic too.
Thank you.
The rug.
I just cut it.
I know.
I had to get out of that ballroom. People in there are not very talkative. Just a bunch of stiffs.
If you want her to cut the If you want her to cut the rug for you, sir, just call 588-23000 Empire. Today.
Broom, look at all of the live humans that are right down there.
I know, madam.
I think they can see me.
They can, madam.
They can see
For the
me.
entire month of October, we are visible. We have apparated. These humans can see us.
Even that little teeny tiny pirate boy right over there.
Especially tiny pirate boy.
Hi, little teeny tiny pirate. My favorite pirate is Captain Morgan.
Yeah. I love it when he does this.
Mate. He's so swashbuckling.
You'll be my tiny pirate. Pirate so tiny, he's just a little pirate.
I love that song.
That was for you, madam.
I'm your
Tiny
pirate
pie.
dancer.
That's it.
I know you're trying to make everybody happy, Bird.
Madam,
Yes.
your pleasure is my only
It's his first
concern.
time here.
What? Whose first time here, little teeny tiny girl? Who is that little teeny tiny boy? Be careful so that you don't bludgeon him with the fence post. I don't know what's happening down there with
I
the
don't
children.
either. All I see is fog right now.
I know it's kind of... And that fog is not coming out from under me. I just want everybody to know.
That's
Yes,
what they all
madam.
say.
No one would believe that at all.
What is your name, little teeny tiny boy?
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the sounds of the park. As I always say, it's nothing, well, obviously it's something better than listening to it, it's being there. But when you can't be there, certainly we like to always listen to it. So let's go ahead and jump into the news. And this is how we're going to do it this week. We're going to start off kind of with, the not so good news first. And then we're going to get into some lighter stories. So by now, I'm sure most of you have heard that Disney had to lay off an additional 28,000 employees. And if you've been following us and, of course, follow the news, quarantine first started, you realized that there were about 40,000 folks that were laid off initially. Now, we've been following, Disney for quite a while. We're big Disney nerds. And one of the things we reported last year, unrelated to a quarantine or COVID or anything like that, just as a fact, or did you know that Disney actually is the largest stateside employer? So when something like this happens, obviously the largest stateside employer is going to, be affected in terms of the number of people that they employ and the impact that it has on those particular employees or cast members. Well, in this case, you take a look at it, Disney, most of their products, notwithstanding TV or movies, well, really movies have been impacted also because people haven't been able to go into the theaters. The only thing that's really been completely safe for Disney has been Disney Plus, ESPN, these sorts of things, Hulu, which they just acquired last year. The parks are, a touch point. The movies, things like that, are places where people have to go and interact. And so until this resolution comes in terms of some sort of vaccine, or, Disney is going to be impacted. And so many others are as well. So the headline, this comes from CNBC, is that Disney has to lay off 28,000 employees as coronavirus slams its theme park business. Some of the key points here are the number of people that it had to lay off. The company has blamed prolonged closures due to capacity limits at the open parks. Some parks are open. Disney World is open. That includes Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, and Epcot. Some other parks are open, Paris, Shanghai, Japan, and Hong Kong. However, particularly if you're listening to this on the West Coast, you realize Disneyland still is not open. Still not open. And we're going to talk a little bit about why that may be in a few stories down. But the point is this. Prolonged closures at Disney's California-based theme parks and limited attendance at its open parks have forced the company to lay off 28,000 employees across its parks, experiences, and consumer products division. In a memo sent to employees on Tuesday, the head of parks at Disney, Josh D'Amaro, detailed several difficult decisions that the company has had to make in the wake of the pandemic, including ending its furlough of thousands of employees. Shares of the company fell less than 2% on last Tuesday at the closing bell. Around 67% of the 28,000 laid off workers were part-time employees, about 67%. According to the statement, the company declined to break down the layoffs by individual park locations. While Disney's theme parks in Florida, Paris, Shanghai, Japan, and Hong Kong have been able to reopen, they have done so under limited capacity. Both California Adventure and Disneyland have remained closed in Anaheim, California. As you can imagine, a decision of this magnitude is not easy. This is by Josh D'Amaro, the president of Parks. This is in a memo to the employees that were obtained by CNBC. For the last several months, our management team has worked tirelessly to avoid having to separate anyone from the company. We've cut expenses, suspended capital projects, furloughed our cast members while still paying benefits, and modified our operations to run as efficiently as possible. However, we simply cannot responsibly stay fully staffed while operating at such a limited capacity. The Parks, Experiences, and Consumer Products segment is a vitally important part of Disney's business. Last year, it accounted for 37% of the company's $69.6 billion in total revenue. So just a question, I guess, from my side. You see, each year these companies make so much money, $69.6 billion. And I understand that they're losing money operating at limited capacity, but they've made so much money for so many years. And yeah, I get it. You're reinvesting back into the parks and these projects and things like that, but it's not to the tune of $69.6 billion. So my question always is, as soon as something like this happens, and of course we've never had a pandemic, or at least in my lifetime, but when there are recessions, companies need to be bailed out. My question is always, where did all that money go? Like, what happened to the last 10 years that were good? Like, literally, they need to be bailed out, and they have to get loans immediately. Maybe it's just me, but I'm wondering, where does $69.6 billion in total revenue go? Now, it's in total revenue, not net revenue. So I get it. I have accounting as a minor, so I understand. They're expensive, but these companies are making a lot of money, and it seems to me that they should be able to stay afloat just a little longer. Anyway, let's just keep going. So Disney's been hemorrhaging money since the outbreak began. In the second quarter, the company reported a loss of $1 billion. Well, okay, so there's a loss of $1 billion, but then you make $69.6 billion the year before. Okay. So there's a loss of $1 billion in operating income due to the closure of the parks, hotels, and the cruise lines. In the third quarter, the company reported a steeper loss, which of course, $3.5 billion. Governor Gavin Newsom outlined a new four-tier reopening framework in late August for California businesses, which hasn't evidently been very popular with the Disney and Universal, the theme park folks. Orange County, which is where Disneyland operates, remains in the substantial tier, and theme parks must remain closed according to the state's website. Orange County is reporting a local positivity rate, or the percentage of total tests have positive rates of about 3.1%, below the statewide average of 3.4%. However, the county is reporting roughly 4.4 new COVID cases per 100,000 people daily. So I'm going to give you unwarranted and unsolicited my opinion on Florida and California. Sometimes you get in a car and it's going too fast, and then you sometimes get in a car and people is going too slow. Yeah, that. So while I think Disney is acting responsibly, particularly in Florida when the governor of Florida, now listen, I don't live in Florida, when the governor of Florida reopened the state, yes, I think it was too soon, but I also think that Disney acted responsibly and they took their time, put in the correct protocols, and I think that they have been able to operate successfully because of that. California, I also don't live in the state of California. I think they are being overly precautious, and I think at some point you've got to say, listen, in order for people to be employed and in order for these businesses to stay afloat, you've got to make some considerations given the lengths that the companies are willing to go to in order to protect the people. And I think Disney has proven that at Walt Disney World in Shanghai, Japan, and some of these other places, that they have gone to lengths to make sure protocols are in place, to try the best they can to protect people. Now, listen, ultimately, it's up to us to protect ourselves. if we're going to be park goers during this time, we have the ultimate responsibility. But unfortunately, people will be people. And it's only so much Disney can do. It's only so much the governor can do. It's our responsibility. So that's my 2 cents. And that was not written in the article by CNBC. But those are just my thoughts. Sometimes I see this and I just think, there's a different way to do this. So speaking of California, Disneyland Resort, Universal Studios, Hollywood, and other California theme parks pushed back on the state's draft reopening plan. Parks would open no earlier than November under the current plan. So there's been a pushback. This story comes to us from WDWNT.com. The core of this is just what I introduced. The plan by the governor of California lists Disney in the higher tiers, and as of yet, they've not been able to reopen. The plan, which is being revised, stated that individual theme parks could only reopen once their county reached the least restrictive minimal risk level, and only then at 25%, with only residents living within a 120-mile radius of each theme park allowed to visit. All right, so let me say that again. That's a mouthful. So the plan for California is this. It's being revised. It states that the individual theme park could only reopen once their county reached the least restrictive minimal risk level. And even at that, they can only operate at 25% capacity, with only the residents living within a 120-mile radius of that particular theme park. Now, with theme parks being part of the last tier of the blueprint for a safer economy, means that the guidelines may not change until the end of the pandemic, postponing reopening for weeks or even months. The draft guideline likely wouldn't prevent California theme parks from reopening for weeks or months. As McDonald has explained, California theme parks likely would not be able to reopen, able to set reopening dates until their respective counties' internet minimum tier. Theme parks located in counties at the substantial level, like Disneyland and Knott's Berry Farm, won't be able to reach the least restrictive minimal level for at least 3 to 6 weeks. Universal and Magic Mountain are at least 6 to 9 months away. If and when Los Angeles County moves from the highest risk level to the lowest. The movement of counties to lower risk levels is independent on, the movement of counties to lower risk levels is dependent upon continued improvement in reducing the number of new COVID cases. Okay, we get that. Here's what I don't understand. I'm an avid YouTuber and I watch a lot of theme park stuff. Knott's Berry Farm is open. I've seen people go to Knott's Berry Farm for this Halloween deal that's going on now with the taste, and they're having these different meals. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe this is just a food event, but I've seen at least 5 different YouTubers on the West Coast visit Knott's Berry Farm. So I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. But this article is on our Facebook page. It comes to us by WDWNT.com. And I do know Disneyland and Universal are not open. I know that for sure because I have family members that work at Universal. And I know just because I know people, in Disneyland, that it's just not open. Now, I know there's some activity afoot. I know that there are scrims. I know that there are safety precautions already up at Disneyland. I know that they're rocking and ready to open the doors, but they're being delayed by the state. I'm not saying right or wrong, up or down, good or bad. It is, what it is. So our next story comes sort of similar to our first stories from the Orlando Sentinel. This says that Disney World lays off 6,700 non-union employees. About 6,700 Walt Disney World non-union employees are losing their jobs because of the fallout from the coronavirus pandemic, according to Walt Disney World. The notice is the first indication of how many Orlando employees are part of the massive layoffs. The company announced Tuesday after the market closed. The layoffs will begin in December. It's possibly only the start of the layoffs, however, as the company is beginning to negotiate cuts with its unions that represent equity Disney performers, hotel housekeepers, ride attendants, and others. In all, Disney plans to lay off a total of 28,000 U.S. employees in a business division that includes the theme parks, Imagineering, and the cruise line. Due to the continuing business impacts of COVID-19 pandemic, we have made the very difficult decision to reduce our workforce. This is by Jim Bouton, Disney's Vice President of Employee Relations, in a letter to the state that did not break down which positions would be effective. So this is reported similar to what we talked about a little earlier. This is being reported by Orlando Sentinel, that in total there it looks like there's going to be about 67,000 folks impacted overall. 6,700 non-union employees within that 28,000. So it's not in addition to, but it's within. So 6,700 non-union employees. Yeah, so this is taking an impact on Disney's business. So we're going to have a story in a little while that I think is an uplifter in terms of how we can help, maybe donate, crowdfund for some of the cast members that are losing their jobs, and hopefully you'll participate. Our next story talks about Florida, Walt Disney World, and it comes to us from DisneyToursBlog.com. Thank you, DisneyToursBlog.com. Florida lifts capacity limits on theme parks, restaurants, stores, and more. You remember I was talking about the car going too fast? Yeah. So, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis issued a new executive order removing capacity restrictions on bars, restaurants, stores, and theme parks. DeSantis held a press conference Tuesday, September 25th, and he unveiled plans for what is called Phase 3 of Florida's reopening. In doing so, he also reiterated that Florida is not closing anything going forward. Even while further reopening Florida, DeSantis acknowledged that the state could see a second wave of cases. People shouldn't think it's over. They shouldn't think it's done. We could easily see a resurgence. I don't think anyone knows, said DeSantis. No kidding. Under the guidelines for the reopening of Florida that were created back in the end of April, Phase 3 is the final stage of Florida's reopening plan. And it can begin after the successful conclusion of Phase 2, upon a downward trajectory of the symptomatic and syndromatic criteria which maintaining adequate health care capacity. I don't really even know what that means because there's no numbers behind it. Different than California, where they had a certain percentage where they wanted counties to be. I don't know if there's a percentage here. Per Florida's guidelines, the state can enter Phase 3 when there's no evidence of a rebound or resurgence once benchmarks have been satisfied. So I assume there are numbers, they're just not posting them in this particular article. Since Florida's numbers peaked in mid-July, new cases, death, hospitalizations, positivity rates, and cases per 100,000 people are all down. That's all good news. However, I think you don't have to be a rocket scientist to realize that once you open up bars, particularly bars, people are going to flock to bars, and they're not going to wear masks because they're drinking at bars, and then your resurgence is going to be back. Just my opinion. In the last couple of weeks, these numbers have plateaued, but that has also occurred as school has begun to reopen, etc. On one hand, I got to be honest with you, I think that it's good news for the theme parks. Not that I think Disney or Universal or anyone in their right mind is going to all of a sudden allow maximum capacity into their parks. It's only good news because they've been free to operate. I think Disney and any person with common sense would proceed with caution. So hopefully, social distancing does not become a thing of the past. Hopefully, no mask, no entry. These sorts of things do not become quickly a thing of the past. These things have to stay in place in order for the spread not to continue. So while I don't necessarily agree with Florida's governor, I do think that the theme parks can take this type of mandate or this type of regulation and work with it, more so than trying to meet the mandate of a county downward trajectory of a certain percentage, because you're handcuffed until you get to that point. And then, of course, if that number changes, then you go back to a shutdown situation. So listen, I don't think it's easy in any regard. I just think on one hand, you have some flexibility. On the other hand, it seems to be it seems to be pretty cut and dry. Let's see. Theme parks may return to normal operations with limited physical distancing protocols. See, this I don't agree with. This is from the same article. This I don't agree with. Theme parks may return to normal operations. Okay, first of all, have you been to Walt Disney World when, in the fall? It is wall to wall. At this time of the year, Mickey's Not So Scary, for Halloween, all the way through New Year's, it's wall to wall. It's wall to wall. Restaurants and food service establishments may operate at full capacity. That's lunacy. Why? So hopefully restaurants and food service establishments, along with theme parks, will operate the same way they've been operating, maybe with a little additional capacity, maybe up it from 25% to 50%, to try and get your numbers where they need to be, but certainly not at 100%. It's just utterly ridiculous. But anyway, this comes from the state of Florida, from Disney's DisneyTouristBlog.com, and it is on our Facebook page should you desire to read the entire article. Okay, so those are the tougher stories to get through. So we've gotten through those. So we take a deep breath, and we're going to get into some of the lighter information to help us plan for moving forward. And the reason I say it that way is because things will work out. They always do. And we're in difficult times, but I think that in difficult times, people shine. I think in difficult times, dreams can still come true. I think magic still happens. I think good people still exist in the world. I think there's more light than darkness. All of those, I truly believe. So I always plan for the future, and I always think that planning helps you get to those better places. So let's talk about Walt Disney World annual passes that can now be purchased by select guests. You may or may not know that some of the passes have been offline, not available for purchase during this time. So I'm going to give you a story here that came to us through themeparktours.com. And the reason I'm listing these stories, number one, is because I want to give the credit to the folks who've gone out and done this work. We scour the internet each week to bring you the best information that we can and to get you updated on all things Disney. So the folks that have done the work, besides, Disney Park blogs or somewhere like that, we like to push you to go and solicit and be a part of their audience as well, because they're doing a heck of a job in terms of staying on top of the news. So themeparktours.com is where this next story comes from. It says Walt Disney World annual passes can now be purchased by select guests. Though packages and theme park tickets can be purchased by anyone wanting to visit Walt Disney World, because of the uncertainty of reopening and the pass park limits, annual passes have not been available for purchase since March. Not sure if you knew that or not. However, it looks like certain guests are once again able to purchase the Walt Disney World annual passes as restrictions on capacity have now been eased and the capacity is beginning to grow. Right now, former annual pass holders whose passes were canceled or expired after March the 16th, you guys are now eligible to be among the first members or guests to purchase new annual passes. Again, annual park pass holders whose passes were canceled or expired after March the 16th. These new purchases can now be made online. And interested guests will need to either call the annual pass holder support line at 407-939-7277, or you can visit Guest Relations, a location at Walt Disney World, in order to buy your new annual pass. Pass holders who qualify will be able to take advantage of renewal rates tied to their former passes. And you can also choose between annual or monthly payments. All right, guys. So again, if you were an annual pass holder and you were canceled or expired before March 16th, you can head on over Walt Disney World or Disney.com and check out and see if you want to purchase or renew for the coming year. So there's that. All right, our next story. We want to keep folks up to date on park hours. Our last couple of shows, podcasts, we've talked about park hours changing because if you're going to be traveling to the parks, then you need to be aware of the park hours. I hate for you to show up to a park thinking you're going to see a projection show or some fireworks or something. Not happening. That is not happening these days. So you need to be aware of the park hours. Next story comes to us from allears.net. Allears.net. News: Disney World releases park hours through December the 19th for the holiday season. Now, I will tell you this, crowds are picking up. This is not part of the news story. This is just me telling you because I've been watching a lot on YouTube and a lot of different vloggers, and the parks are picking up. Right now, Epcot is still in the midst of its food and wine. So capacity is picking up. And of course, we're in the fall. And so a lot of folks are flogging out, particularly on the weekend. So if you want to go and you want to go in some low crowd times, I would suggest going through the week. Looks like a lot of folks are picking Friday through Sunday to really go and hang out at the parks. All right, so as we start picking out our holiday costumes this month, we're also stocking up on a few holiday gifts in the parks for our friends and family at Walt Disney World. With guests already starting to plan their holiday trips in December, we've seen park hours for the beginning and the middle of the month start to roll out online. So here are some park hours by park all the way up to December the 13th through the 19th. So for the week of December the 13th through the 19th, according to Walt Disney World website, the first half of the month looks like this. Magic Kingdom, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Epcot, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. Hollywood Studios, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. And Animal Kingdom, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So Animal Kingdom is closing the earliest. 7 p.m. Looks like is for Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios, and 8 p.m. for Epcot. I hear tell that Epcot has been testing out some fireworks. So Epcot may be the very first ones to be able to get a fireworks show going. But I just wanted to make you aware of the park hours. If you want to read the article in its entirety, you can go to our Facebook page, and the entire article is there. Hey, did you know that we're beginning the Hispanic Heritage Month here in October? So on Disney Parks blog, there's a nice article by Leonard Spencer, who's the Senior Manager of Supply Diversity, celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. How Badia Spices keeps family tradition alive at Disney parks. Earlier this year, I introduced you to the Walt Disney World Company Supplier Diversity Team and the passion that drives our work. This includes making a meaningful and positive impact on our diverse supplier communities. During Hispanic Heritage Month, we continue to celebrate the stories, cultures, and contributions of Latinx individuals both inside and outside of the company. And it's my pleasure to tell you about Badia Spices, one of our Hispanic-owned diverse suppliers. Badia Spices is a purveyor of spices, seasoning blendings, marinades, and more. Badia Spices supplies spices and seasoning blends to our restaurants and has been one of our leading suppliers since 2005. Pretty cool. Thanks to the variety of the spices that Badia supplies to our parks, we're able to create magic through fan-favorite culinary delights. Before Badia got its start at Disney Park Supply, the company was built on a family tradition. The family-owned brand started in 1967 when Jose Badia, a Cuban exile, began selling his spices around Miami, using his station wagon as his storefront. By the 1970s, Badia spices grew in the local market and was featured in grocery stores and bodegas across Miami. The business continued to gain popularity, first within the Hispanic community and then among a general market. Today, it is a leading Hispanic-owned multi-million-dollar company led by Jose's son, Jose Pepe Badia, who continues the family legacy while managing the company's daily operation. Now, I really want you to go out and read this entire story. I've only given you a portion of it. This is on our Facebook page. And again, it is called Hispanic Heritage Month. Badia, actually, when I look at their logo, I know this company because I see it when I go into the grocery stores all the time. I don't know if you're shopping at Target or Walmart or Kroger or whatever your food preference is. They tend to always have ethnic foods on one aisle. And, whether it's carbonated drinks, sodas, and things like that, or if it's spices, it kind of sticks out. But Badia is a big brand, and I love the fact that this guy started out in his station wagon and his son's running a multi-million-dollar company. I mean, I just love that. I love it because it should tell everybody that's working now and trying to, get to that point that it's absolutely possible. And just don't stop. I mean, just don't stop. I mean, this guy this is a pretty awesome story. So I would suggest that you go out to our Facebook page and take a look at this story in its entirety. Again, this is from Disney Parks blog, Hispanic Heritage Month honoring. All right, guys, our next story comes to us from allears.net because they're awesome, allears.net. And this is some information about Disney Springs. In the event that you're in the area and you're going to go to Disney Springs, guess what? A brand new store has just popped into Disney Springs last week. The name of the store, Love Pop. When a new store is in progress in Disney World, we can't help but not so patiently wait as we wait for construction to get along. As we've been highly anticipating the entire Love Pop store that has moved from its previous kiosk location to a new spot nestled in between Ron John's Surf Shop and Superdry in Disney Springs. We only just saw a sign put up in front of the store a few weeks ago, but progress has apparently been made and moving along quickly since Love Pop has officially opened to visitors. Now, this article came out on October the 2nd, which was yesterday. So today is Saturday. So I'm hoping Love Pop has seen a lot of love today. Guests enter the space. They'll find very spooky and very good boy. Very good boy. I don't know what that is. Guests enter the space. They'll find this very spooky and very good boy who will welcome them inside, along with Baby Yoda peeping into the back. I think Baby Good Boy is a dog that is in front. You have to see the imagery that's on the article. So Baby Good Boy is a dog that is in Love Pop. We love decorating our homes with actual flower bouquets. The Love Pop bouquets can literally last you forever with different kinds of flowers and themes. So Love Pop is about flowers. Love Pop also has a wall with a list of cards that we'll introduce in the store each month. So it's sort of a occasion flower card type situation. So there's some awesome pictures that are in this article. Obviously, some Disney-related cards, too. There's a really awesome birthday card by Yoda that opens up. There's a pop-out. There's a Forces Be With You card. May the Force be with you. And there's a Princess Leia and R2-D2. There's some pretty cool things here. So why don't you take a look at our Facebook page and take a look at some of the offerings from Love Pop. And if you're in the area for, going to Walt Disney World, of course, we always tell you to go to Disney Springs. Hang out at Disney Springs, check out Love Pop, and these are some of the things that you can expect. Thank you, allears.net. All right, guys, our next story comes from Walt Disney World. Now, I'm going to kind of flash through some of these quickly because I want to get over to some of the other stories. But there's some stores and also some restaurants that have been closed since the start of the pandemic, since the reopening, that are now coming back to life. And one of those, which is a fan favorite, story comes to us from WDWNT.com, is the Friar's Nook. The Friar's Nook reopens in Fantasyland at Magic Kingdom. I can't say I've ever eaten there, but I've walked past it 100 times. After closing with the rest of the park in mid-March due to the pandemic, the Friar's Nook in Magic Kingdom is finally reopened. The Friar's Nook is a quick service restaurant, and only some of the windows are open, though social distancing markers are placed in front of each window. One of the aisles is for wheelchair access only, and it looks like the Friar's Nook has Americana type of food. You're talking about hot dogs and tater tots and French fries and things of that nature. The counter service restaurant serves, hot dog, tater tots, French fries, and more. This is in Adventureland. This is very close to Haunted Mansion, so it's reopened. So I've seen like lines and lines of people eating here. I just have never eaten there because, number one, I'm plant-based, and number two, I'm usually passing there and heading over to Harbor House to eat. So if you're a fan of Friar's Nook, it is reopened. And guess what else is reopened? This next story also comes to us from allears.net. We did a story a few shows ago, about our favorite foods, or some foods that we could make from Disney at home. And one of the things that I mentioned to you that I actually have never tasted, but I see Tim Tracker salivating over every year, are the spring rolls, the cheeseburger spring rolls. So it's finally back. The Adventureland egg roll wagon has reopened in Magic Kingdom. Fans everywhere have been wistfully looking at the empty egg roll wagon location as they've entered Adventureland since the park has reopened. Well, while we've still been able to grab all sorts of Dole Whips during, these down days at Walt Disney World Magic Kingdom, we've been missing the fried goodness. The egg roll wagon has returned in Adventureland with its fan favorite options back on the menu. Guests are able to choose 2 spring rolls from $7.50 with options like house-made cheeseburger spring rolls or pepperoni pizza spring rolls. I didn't know they had those. Either way, I can't eat them because it's meat. Of course, we went with one of each to test them out, and these babies did not disappoint with the crispy covers and gooey insides. We didn't realize how much we missed these cheeseburger spring rolls and pepperoni spring rolls before. Here's what I'll tell you. If this makes you salivate, looking at the pictures is going to make you salivate even more. I am plant-based, and like I said, I see Tim Tracker just salivating over these every year. He and his wife Jen always talking about wanting to get these, and this was something that my daughters and I have attempted to make at home. These look really good. But I just love egg rolls in general. So why don't you head over to our Facebook page and take a look at some of the pictures. And if, again, you're going to be in the parks, you may as well partake. This next story I absolutely love because I started watching this on Disney Plus on accident. I thought this was something to do with National Geographic. I had no idea that this was a Disney Plus Disney Park generated content. This story comes to us from DisneyParksBlog.com. This is new episodes of Magic of Disney's Animal Kingdom shows animal care in action. Let me tell you why this show's awesome. Number one, because Animal Kingdom is my girl's favorite park. Magic Kingdom is mine, but I do love Animal Kingdom. And I love animals. I love to see people taking care of animals. I don't think that's weird because it's just a humane thing to do. And while they're in captivity, the least we could do is to take care of them. So this show came up. I'm a big National Geographic person, so that's why I started watching it on Disney Plus. I thought it was part of the National Geographic. Well, it turns out they were doing backstories of actual veterinarians and work and cast members at Animal Kingdom, which was great because we all know or we assume that there's this thing happening behind the scenes because Animal Kingdom, different than the other three, have live shows. Their animals are live, so there's no stopping. People have to always be feeding them, taking care of them, etc. So, have you had a chance to see the first episode of Magic of Disney's Animal Kingdom on Disney Plus? I have, because there's only one out there. Episode 2 is now streaming, so I'm looking forward to this. It came out yesterday, which was October the 2nd, so I'm going to be checking that out probably tonight. Is chock full of animal adventures, ranging from providing postnatal care to a stingray Darby and her pup Hilo at the Seas at Nemo and Friends at Epcot, to a surprise birthday party for Gino, a silverback gorilla at Disney's Animal Kingdom theme park. The first episode was super awesome. I mean, you got to see. I don't know, you just got to check it out to see these veterinarians and the care that they take. They really emphasize the care that they're giving to their giraffes and their animals. If you missed our last 2 podcasts, we mentioned to you, I don't know, podcast we did on Instagram too, but we mentioned that there was recently a birth of a baby giraffe, which is awesome, and three rhinos are pregnant. So there are going to be some baby rhinos soon. So check out our last podcast. Check out our last couple of posts on Instagram because we can show you some pictures of the rhinos. What I really appreciate about this episode is how it shows the special bonds our animal care team has with the animals that they care for. Our keepers know each individual animal's name, and they can tell you all about their favorite fruits and quickly share endless stories about their quirks and habits. So I live in Atlanta, and I love nature shows. So we watched this thing on National Geographic and I forgot the cable channel it comes on, but it's called either the zoo or the aquarium or something like that. So if you live in Atlanta, you know we have an aquarium, and supposedly our aquarium is the largest in the U.S. I only say supposedly because I don't know if that is the case. But anyway, let's assume that it is. Man, when I watch this, the people are so connected to these penguins or stingrays or dolphins, and it's such an awesome thing to see how much they actually care for these animals and how they can tell them apart from different animals. It's like they're their parents. It's a really cool connection to see people connected with these animals. I mean, I forgot the spiritual leader or teacher who said this. I think it was Mahatma Gandhi, that you can tell the consciousness of a people by the way that they treat their animals. When I see people being kind to animals, I know that you're going to be kind to people. You know, it's just a thing. And then the reverse, of course, is true as well. When I see people hunting in Africa and stuff like that, I just think you've no clue. You've no idea. Your consciousness is so low. A silverback is one of the most beautiful animals I've ever seen. A lion is one of the most beautiful animals I've ever seen. Elephants, I don't know why anyone would want to harm any animal. But anyway, I digress. I love to watch these shows because it shows the interaction between the human and the animals and how they care for them. And it gives some perspective to the Disney guest as they're going through Kilimanjaro, as they're visiting Animal Kingdom, as you're staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge, that although you can't see all of the cast members that are out there, there are these great cast members that are there caring for these animals, making sure food's in the right place, making sure their toenails are clipped, making sure their babies are being birthed correctly, making sure they don't get anything stuck in their trunks, all of these things. So listen, Disney needs your help. So continue to watch as much Disney Plus as possible. And if you like Disney Plus like I do, one of the shows that you're going to like is Animal Kingdom. I promise you you'll like it. So check it out. I think there's only 2 episodes up so far. I've seen one. It was really great. So check it out. And our last news story is a fun one. We're going to put this on our Instagram page probably tomorrow, and we're going to go ahead and put it on our Facebook page. It's already on our Facebook page now, so if you want to link out to it and get some of these wall arts, go ahead and do it. We do this every time we see Disney Parks Blog do a giveaway. So this story comes to us from Disney Parks Blog, and it's entitled Disney Magic Moments. Month of Halloween surprises begins with new wallpapers and Giphy stickers and more. I like the wallpapers because I like to wallpaper either my phone or my computer with some sort of Disney artwork. Welcome, foolish mortals, as we usher in Halloween like never before on Disney Parks Blog. To kick off a month of spectacular surprises, we've scared up a cauldron of treats, including new wonderfully wicked wallpapers, ghoulishly Giphy stickers, and a creepy, creative look at what's to come. Our thrilling and chilling October of Disney Halloween Magic will feature ghostly games, not so scary crafts, trick-or-treats, and a surprise from the cadaver dance and more, including today's new Giphy stickers. So the Giphy stickers you can find on Disney Parks Blog. We're going to try and post it to our Instagram as well. And of course, it's already posted to our Facebook, but you can download some of these and you can use them as artwork on your devices. These first ever Disney Park Blog Giphy stickers are Snow White themed with a portal and a cauldron, and a haunted mansion theme with hitchhiking ghosts. I love hitchhiking ghosts. Master Gracie's portrait, and some seriously spooky candles. All you have to do is just search Disney Parks Blog to include them in your Instagram stories. So, we're sharing new fantasy and new fantastically frighteningly wallpapers, highlighting fan favorite villains as well. A Happy Halloween bubbling cauldron with Hidden Mickey, and a beautiful Halloween design seen on the Disney Parks Blog. So if you go to our Facebook page and you click on this link, it'll take you to the article. And within the article, you can download desktop, mobile, and or watch the villains wallpaper, the cauldron wallpaper, Disney Parks Blog Halloween wallpaper. All of that's there for you to consume. So that, guys, is going to do it for this week. So again, you know what? No, it's not going to do it for this week. We have one last story to do. And I wanted to do this because I saw this came over on Instagram from one of our favorites, which is Disney Food Blog. If you don't follow Disney Food Blog, you should follow them because they're awesome and they give good information and a lot of good Disney information. But Disney Food Blog put up a post last week, which we also reposted on our Instagram. The post was, how can you help affected Walt Disney World layoffs? So cast members who've been affected by the Walt Disney World layoff, and there's been a lot. There are ways that you can donate via Venmo. There's ways that you can donate via Amazon wishlist. And there's ways that you can send packages. Briefly, I'm going to go over this, but I'm going to highly suggest that you go to our Instagram or our Facebook page to see this for yourself. And you can decide which way you want to donate. One of the ways that I'm choosing to donate is through Amazon. Both the cast member pantry and the WDW cast member and hospitality pets in need group have Amazon. They have an Amazon wish list that you can purchase items off of in order to help. I am on Amazon every day. Literally, I got a delivery before I came down to the studio today to do this recording. So Amazon is easy for me. So all you have to do is go to these particular wish lists and then pick an item and donate it to the cast members. And I can't thank Disney Food Blog enough for doing this. He was so smart to be able to put this out to Disney nerds and blurs and folks like myself who love Walt Disney World and know how important cast members are to the magic. Another way that you can donate, you can help support the cast members pantry by sending a Venmo to @castmemberpantry. I've never done Venmo. I'm not saying I won't do it, but Amazon's easiest for me. But if you're a Venmo person, all you have to do is send a donation to @castmemberpantry. Whatever amount you decide, you can Venmo it, and the cast members it'll go to the cast member pantry. The other two ways, you can send a package. You can drop off donations for WDW cast members and hospitality pets in need at the following address. They give an address. I'll give it to you. Again, don't have to feel like you need to write it down. It's on our Facebook page. If you're driving, you can look at it when you get to wherever you're going. 12339 Sunkissed Loop, Windermere, Florida, 34787. One more time, a little slower, please. 12339 Sunkissed Loop, Windermere, WINDERMERE, Florida, of course, 34787. And then lastly, there's a Pet Alliance of Greater Orlando. You can learn more about that by simply visiting their website, Pet Alliance. So I think what happens is when people tend to lose their income, obviously some things start happening with, things around them and their pets are affected. So I don't know if people are just dropping pets off and they can't I don't know what's going on. I hate to even think about it because we have pets and I would hate to think, my dog somewhere and they're not able to be taken care of. So I know you're awesome. You're listening to our podcast here, and I appreciate you doing that. I'm going to ask you to just go to our Facebook page, take a look at what we have out there, and you be the judge. Determine how you want to help, but help in some sort of way. Put good out, and good will come back. Guys, again, this is going to do it for this week. I want to catch you up from the week of September 27th up until today, October the 3rd, and I hope I've done that. I hope also I've taken your mind off all this other stuff for at least, what have we been doing now, about 50 minutes or so. And let's figure out a way to help folks who've been impacted by what's going on in the world. Let's also keep focus on our next trip to the park. Keep planning. It's going to happen. It's going to come. So my hope is that you'll subscribe and keep following my Disney Brain and keep supporting us and share it with your family and friends. Please give us a 5-star review. That really helps us out a lot. Check me out next week. We'll be back with more news and more updates from Walt Disney World. Thanks and have a magical week.
Friend, never had a friend, you ain't never had a friend, never had a friend, you ain't never had a friend. You ain't never had a friend like me.
Some people are worth melting for.
Say goodbye to the pain of the past. We don't have to feel it anymore. Love is an open door.